just speaking with Sister Tracy Gales here about one of the problems, especially what I find with what we may call African American people, is our lack of trust and love for one another. And being the author of My True Sense, we wrote a revision of the Willie Lynch letter saying that how we need to reverse everything that has been done. So until we can bring back the trust, the love, and the loyalty for one another, not to mention all of the other things that are systematic that's going on within the system to bring us into the conditions that we are in so far, whether you want to, pull out things to blame such as television, games, lead, a lot of things that take place to make us do some of the things that we may be doing as a people right now that at one time were unheard of amongst ourselves as a people, especially being mostly loving people, having a lovable nature towards one another. But now it seems that we have been infected with a disease, and so far as doing experiments on animals, now it's like the experiment is on the people, and to seeing how they will react to certain things by putting drugs and other things into the community, not to mention the vaccinations and all the things that plague us today. So until we learn how to retract and do and focus on some of the things that we need to do for self and do for self, then we will begin to combat those things that are plaguing us as a people by beginning to love one another as sisters and people in general more. Thank you.
The problem with the violence is that our foundation is weak. We have to rebuild. There are so many things that are missing, things that were developing around the 60s but were lost around the time of integration for several different reasons. I'm not anti-integration, but I understand what it did. We no longer have a strong bond, and that's where the lack of trust comes in, and that's where the lack of sensitivity to someone else's pain comes in. The feeling of abandonment that I see in the youth as a activist in the community, as a teacher, I see all these things. I think it's time for us to hold hands and to not let go. As we were speaking earlier about the breakdown in communication from generation to generation, that's important. What she was saying was, I may not be able to hear what you're saying, you may not be able to hear what I'm saying, but we have to work so that we can hear each other, understand each other, communicate with each other, and move accordingly on one accord. I also think that senseless divisions have to end on every level. We have to provide things for our children that they need. One reason that I left the public school system is because our children are not getting all that they need. Maybe a third, and that's not enough. And it's not enough for me to serve in that way. So those are basically my thoughts on the source of violence.
Okay. I think that people that's doing these senseless killings, I feel like they're weak. They're weak. They followers. And maybe if we create some more programs or whatever to make them understand what they doing, it just don't make no sense, and it's stupid to keep killing one another. But once the police kill one of us, it's a big deal. But they feel nothing when they kill one another.
First, what has to be done is, in order to say what can women do, women have to first band together and define what they feel womanhood is, and then aspire to be strong women, aspire to be women who uplift their community, women who are more than willing to reach out and ask for the help of the men of the community as well, and not feel that we have to separate in order to do that. But I'm not sure.
Just to piggyback a little bit on what she's saying, I think that one of the major things that I found with women is that we need healing too in so many areas. So many areas that we need healing. And one thing that I'm finding today is our lack of unifying together for whatever reasons, whether we have dislikes for one another or the jealousies or all the things that shouldn't be. We all have a common problem But we don't want to seem to unite around that.
We compete as opposed to that, and really we're the same. We face the same problems, yet we're not viewing each other as the same person. I agree with you.
And it's more as we as women look at one another and know that you are my sister, I am you, you are me, we are one another, then we can begin to do those things collectively that women can do and really empower ourselves. When we take out all those other things that keep us separated. And then a lot of times we find, especially when we bring men in the picture, we got some more trouble.
Right, and we have to stop that. We have to stop that, because we women are very powerful. We're very powerful, and we need to know it, and we need to know that we're even more powerful once we band together. So I think that there's a great need for a unification of women, a healing circle. Talk to the girls. I've started several mentoring programs because I understand that it's important that we communicate and that we hear each other's pain, so that we can see, you know what, you are just like me in so many different ways. You know what, I'm not going to be hard on you because we are experiencing the same thing in so many different fashions.
Yeah, and I'd like to give a shout out to Queen Afua and her wonderful book, Sacred Women, that teaches us how to do those sister circles and all the things that we as women may have lost along the way, how to find ourselves again, you know. And I think one thing for the women is sometimes we don't want to, or our men to feel like we're trying to step over them or on top of them, but it's important for us to walk beside one another. It's that nobody's trying to lead or be a leader per se of anybody, but we just want to connect together and walk together. I think once we begin to realize that that's all we're saying, that's all, just walk with me. You know, you ain't got to walk behind me or way back yonder or whatever. Let's walk together. You know, and that reminds me of my sister Nataki shares a wonderful story about the Ubuntu children, how they were told to race to this tree of fruit, and instead of them running, they all joined hands and walked together. And the moral of the story was, it would be too much for just one to share, and they could, when they all could partake of it. So we could really learn so much from our African proverbs and so many other proverbs that we may have lost.
And this right here is important to me. I didn't know that story. This is an example, you know, okay, you're done. But this is an example to me of what you're imparting knowledge to me and wisdom to me. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to impart it to her.
That's right.
The children that I come across.
That's the way we do it. Did we do